Hello friend, welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about gear. We're going to first talk through a bunch of products that I was sent over the last month. These are things that I was curious about, things that I wouldn't necessarily buy with my own money. I haven't used them enough to endorse them here on the channel, but I just wanted to talk you guys through some initial first impressions as you might have seen other people start to talk about these products on YouTube. They were things that would serve my video production company, things that I'm needing kind of day in and day out. And I was just curious to check them out. So we're going to get into those. After that, we're just going to talk through my general approach to buying gear. I have some thoughts I just wanted to share as you guys are thinking about, how does Blaze think about buying new cameras, new lenses, things that he's looking to invest in. He talks about, gear on this YouTube channel some. How does he actually go about making purchases? So hope that part of the video would be helpful to you as well. And then to end, we are in the studio space. So I'm going to share some updates over the last few weeks of just progress that I've made. This is my second video officially in this space. So if you missed the first, go check that out. But I wanted to share you guys some build updates on how that's been going. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first ones were V-mount batteries. There was the new 212 watt-hour battery from Small Rig, Caleb Pike collab. I was mainly interested in this because I am needing to do battery swaps when I use just the standard 99 watt-hour ones from Small Rig. And I was like, man, that'd be very cool to just have one battery that I could potentially use all day. The cons of it are you can't take it on an airplane, but most of my work is local. And so I would say this battery is very cool if you want one battery to power your stuff all day. Great solution for you, great ports. If you are traveling a lot for work, I would say just continue to invest in the 99 watt-hour ones, whatever brand you like, because they are a lot smaller. You can take them on an airplane, and I have several of the kind of smaller 99 watt-hour ones that I'm going to continue to use when I travel. And so that brings me into the next one. Andy Cine sent me their version of kind of like a mini V-mount. It is just a smidge shorter than the one from Small Rig, but in general, guys, really similar. They function almost identically. Ports are all on the top. There's actually 2 D-taps on the top versus Small Rig just has one on the side. But I've gotten to use both these batteries on several real projects the last month. They've been really solid. I don't really have any complaints. I will just say the 212 is pretty large on my Fujifilm X-H2S rig. I'll show you guys a quick photo or video of this, but it does look quite large. It might serve better on a larger cinema camera, but it lasts all day and I can't complain. The added weight is something you have to think about when you're adding a larger battery. But in general, I really like these batteries. The next thing we're going to talk about is Freewell's new V2 magnetic variable ND. And they sent me version 2. In general, I get this question a ton. What variable ND do you use? The common variable ND that I have used is the Nisi True Color 1 to 5 stop. And then they have like the additional 4 stops that you can add on top to get it up to 9, I believe. And I still haven't found the perfect kind of variable ND system for me. So I was curious in checking these out. This is a 3 to 7 stop. I'm actually filming on it right now. So I'll cut to some footage of what it looks like on the camera. But the main feature here is that you can lock the position of the VND with the little knobs on the side so that you can set the polarization. And this is something you can't quite do as easily with other VNDs. I don't know how much I will be utilizing that feature, but when it comes to variable NDs, I just find them to be a little bit more of a headache. They're necessary. You need them when you're wanting to film at 180 degrees. If you are, filming a fast moving subject and want motion blur, you have to use them. I think the long-term solution for me is just going to be investing in a camera that has built-in NDs. I think the more that I do run and gun, documentary style, also some of the corporate work I'm doing, I think just built-in NDs is going to be the move. But using this one from Freewell has seemed really solid. I haven't noticed any major color shifts, vignetting. I'm using it on an extremely wide lens now, and I feel like it looks quite good. I don't notice really any color shift or vignetting, but I didn't do any like really side-to-side tests. I think 1 to 5 stops is more usable for me versus 3 to 7. 3 to 7, I kind of have to decide, do I want this on or do I want it off? With the 1 to 5, I can actually, keep it just at 1 stop and film indoors. And I have to go outdoors, I can crank it up to 5 and maybe bring up my shutter speed a little bit to get proper exposure with f-log 2. But overall, I think 3 to 7 is another solid option. I'm curious to continue to test it out over the next few months. Something I'm also filming on right now that I wanted to mention was Suray's new Sniper series. They released the 16 mil, I think the 75 mil. I only got sent the 16 mil, but it's a 16 mil 1.2 in X mount. That's what I'm filming on right now. I'll cut to just a little picture of the camera so you guys can see it. But in general, I already made a whole in-depth video on the Sniper series of lenses, their autofocus. I think they're a really solid budget option for someone that wants a lens with a little bit more character with a really low fast aperture. The 16 mil is very consistent with the rest of the set, but does just introduce a little bit of distortion as wide angle lenses do this, the wider they get. And so in general, I'm filming on it right now. I think it looks great. I don't know of very many other 16 mil f1.2 lenses out there. When it comes to how I see myself using this lens, 16 mil is a little bit of a specialty lens. So honestly, mainly BTS, YouTube, videos like this, I would see myself grabbing for this lens if I just want something small and compact. And so excited to continue using this over the next few months. Another interesting product that I had not really heard of, Freewell just threw it in with their filters, but it's this new card reader. I think there's several companies that are starting to make these, but it's basically a card reader that slides into a slim case, but it also has storage for additional SD cards. And so this one has 6 micro SD slots, 2 SD slots on this side, another SD card slot, CF Express A, CF Express B, 2 more micro slots. Those are all storage only. It's just storing your cards like another card case would. On the side here is where the reader is. So you have a CF Express B slot, CF Express A, an SD card slot, and then a micro SD card slot, and it all plugs into your computer with this USB-C cable, and then it all kind of tucks away into this metal case and has a carabiner. The reason why I'm interested in this is for travel. I don't like bringing my CF Express B type reader from my desktop setup. It takes a while to unhook from my computer, and just to bring it and have an extra thing that I need to throw in my bag when I'm traveling is not super fun. So when they honestly sent this my way, I was excited because I was like, well, at least it's a kind of SD card, CF Express card reader on the go that I can use with my laptop. Also store a few cards while I'm traveling, and I think it would serve well for anyone kind of doing traveling. But I'd say my only con or gripe is that there is a lot of wasted space. I don't need 6 micro SD card slots. I don't use CF Express Type A. And so I can really only fit 3 SD cards and 1 CF Express B card slot. If there was a way to basically make this modular where I could pick and store a bunch more SD cards, I think that would be a really solid option. I think most people are using SD cards. And so I know they were wanting to give kind of a lot of options, but that would be my preference in a product like this and how I would improve on it for someone like myself. The last category of things I wanted to talk about was some video lights that I was sent in the last month. So I recently did a video checking out the larger new lights from Zhiyun. They went ahead and followed up and wanted to send me their G300 as well as the CX100. These have been out for a while. Probably seen a lot of people on YouTube talking about them, but when it came to why I said yes to these, the main thing is that getting this studio space, potentially filming at my house, and having friends that want to borrow gear, I just need more lights. And the idea of having just lights that are available if I need to take one home or have some at the studio, or we're kind of figuring out if we want to mount any lights here in the studio, I just need more lights. And so the fact that they were wanting to send these over really excited me. I love how small they are. I think that is the main selling point of these lights. If you are working in documentary and you want the smallest 300 watt light out there, I think it's this one from Zhiyun. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but this 100 watt light is also incredibly tiny. The last light I wanted to talk about was this one from Manbly. It is the CFL 200 by. Overall, I don't love it as compared to the ones that I've checked out from Zhiyun. That's kind of like a niche company. You have Aperture, Nanlite. Maybe Zhiyun is kind of in the content creator world. I had never heard of this brand. I just said yes to it because I was like, I don't know, 200 watt bicolor light could be helpful. I'm actually using it to kind of light the back corner here. Overall, I think the build quality just feels pretty cheap for this price point. I think there's a lot of other more solidly built lights for this price. And the main issue that I've been having with it is you will set the percentage. And I don't know if it has to do with the fan being on or off, but you'll set the percentage and then all of a sudden it'll jump like it'll get twice as bright and the number will still stay the same. And so I would find this incredibly impractical to use on a set. Even using it in this YouTube video is funny because I'd set the percentage and I have to wait 15 seconds for the light to adjust to like the proper percentage. So I don't know what's up with that. I can't really say much more about the light because it's probably not something I see myself regularly using moving forward. And it's also probably the last time I'm going to say yes to a light from a company like this that is really not well known. And so Zhiyun gets passed. They're in the content creator space. I think they are making interesting products that are small and compact, and there's an audience for that. But these clone lights that look very similar to other ones on the market, just you can really feel it in the build quality and the subpar performance, but they're not my favorite. So yeah, that's just a little bit of the gear that I was saying in the last month. I hope that it was helpful just to see some of the stuff. If you have specific questions on like how I'm using these, if you are interested in buying them, let me know down in the comments. I would love to be a resource and provide you more in-depth info if that's something you need to make a buying decision. Last thing I wanted to touch on was just my general approach to buying gear for my company. This is not stuff I'm being sent from YouTube, but when I'm thinking about buying a product, what is going into that thought process? And I think the big thing that I just wanted to drive home is the importance of thinking critically about the items that you're buying. I think people often want a YouTuber or someone on social media to endorse a product so that, they can think for them and therefore just buy the product, and then they will get mad at said person if it is good or bad. And the way I approach just in general, like new camera releases, new lenses, like every week there's new stuff hitting this platform that YouTubers are telling you about. And I just want to drive home the importance of thinking critically. If there is something I'm seriously interested in buying, I'll watch every video out there from, the channels that are making really high quality stuff. I'll get a lot of different opinions. I'll try to ask questions in the comments or DM people if there's really nuanced questions that I'm really trying to decide. And all this kind of goes into the category of just doing your research. This is something that I do not just with filmmaking gear, but tools, things for my house, something like a vacuum cleaner. I don't know. I will just research and research and research and try and figure out, is this a wise decision? Is the cheaper one really better? Are the trade-offs, worth it for me to buy the cheaper one? Or is the more expensive one the thing I need to buy? I think that is something I do naturally that I would just encourage you guys to do as well. As you hear people talking about products, think about the work that you're doing, do a lot of research, see who else is using them, weigh kind of the potential pros and cons. And I think that'll help you kind of make a decision if a product is right for you. And if it's brand new, maybe just don't buy it right away. If you're trying to decide, like, should I buy the new, X106, and there's not a lot of videos out on it yet that have really put it through its paces, I would say just wait. That's my typical approach. I don't always buy gear right when it comes out. I think the XH2S was kind of the first camera I ever pre-ordered right when it came out because I knew that I wanted it. I was at that point in my career where I had the money, I needed a camera, and what I saw on the spec sheet was great. But in general, I don't think you need to rush to buy these things. Wait for a lot of opinions, and you guys will see that pays off where you don't end up wasting money down the road. And then if specifics are helpful, the first thing I want to mention is just pay for gear with cash. You might hear other people on this platform talking about how you can finance a camera, finance gear. Just in life, I like to pay for things with cash. I buy with money that I have. I often buy gear that is job specific. If I have a job coming up that I've already received the deposit for, if there's a small item that I know is going to make that job easier, I'll go ahead and make that purchase. I won't make the purchase in the winter months when work slows down, knowing I might need that money for something else. And so I think if I've done a job, 2 or 3 times and I've run into a certain issue 2 or 3 times, and there's a solution out there that costs a little bit of money, whether that's a larger battery, whether that's a different diffusion option or a different stand or something like that. Once I've ran into that issue, 2 or 3 times, I'll then kind of know, oh, if I spent $100, I could kind of never have that issue again. That's worth it. I have a job coming up where that makes sense. I'll go ahead and buy the product, but I won't just buy something just because I see someone talk about it on YouTube. It might be cool. I might consider oh, that seems like a cool product, but I wonder how that would actually work for my workflow. And in general, that's just kind of my approach. And so I hope these ideas are helpful to you if you're a beginner, if you are looking at me and just curious, how does Blaze approach buying gear. What is all this stuff he's talking about on his channel that he's getting sent? How do I differentiate that? I'm not really the in-depth gear review channel unless it's like cameras or something that I'm using all the time. So drop any questions down below. Would love to be a resource. And to end, I'm just going to show you guys some updates here to the studio. So since my last video, there's been several things we've been doing. The first was building this large table in the center of the space. This is the kind of most in-depth table that I've ever built. I've built a few desks, a few like smaller tables, but this is a 8-foot long by about 4-foot wide table, all made from butcher block. We kind of went with this specific style where it's kind of braced in the middle. We routed out some channels for these C channels that help give the table rigidity. But overall, honestly ended up being a lot more work than I anticipated. I stopped filming a lot of it because I was just trying to get the project done. But it feels super great to now have a table in the space where people can come and work when they're here, come hang out, where I can meet with clients. The next thing was hanging these paper backdrops. And so these are now hung up. We just used some drywall anchors. I think they're specifically toggles that go into drywall, and we just mounted, I think, 4 screws each side. We have 3 different ones to start, but those got hung up yesterday, and I feel like they're looking great. This is going to be kind of the shooting space where we're filming for clients. So those are the 2 big updates in general. Other than that, just been doing cleaning up, kind of making a mental list of what additional things we need to buy to kind of make this space functional for us to begin, filming for clients in here. And so hope that you found some of this BTS helpful. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do some like studio build specific videos, but I just wanted to share some updates with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you found something in here helpful. Let me know any questions you might have, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.